All right, thank you very much for that kind introduction. Apps or no apps, I think your hair looks fine. So I'll be talking a little bit about angel investment from a European perspective, a Danish perspective, and my own perspective. We're a Danish company, a startup investor network. We have 270 members. We were founded 3 years ago. Every year we introduce about 50 cases to our members, and we do deal-making assistance and make sure that things happen. We've spent the past 10 years working for other angel networks and working a lot with the super angels in Denmark. And actually, if I go a step back, this picture is actually the way we would like to symbolize angel investment, that we want to make a cultural change in Denmark. So it's not only for the super high net worth individuals, but that each startup, which we have here, actually have a whole team of business people, seasoned business people with gray hair or no hair, helping them out in all ways of production, supply chain, fundraising, sales, etc. So this is our perspective on things. So I've been working with this 12 years. I was actually doing fine in management consulting, and then I unfortunately met this guy who's now my colleague since 12 years, and I got caught up in this nightmare of angel investment, which is just a fun way of losing your money fast. I've invested in 8 companies, and I'll get back to that. Just a quick introduction to business angels for those of you who are not totally up to date what it is. It's basically individuals that have spare cash and time to invest. Most of them, they have a passion to invest in companies, build new companies, scale them, and try and exit them again. They often invest locally within their own business domain experiences they have, and they often play an active part of the company. The amounts we see go as low as 15,000 euros per investment and up to 300,000 euros per investment. We've spent the last 5 years in Denmark trying to promote, to reduce the amount of investment per case for these angels to spread their risk, getting engaged in more companies, building portfolios, instead of doing like the old superstar way of investment where you go all in one case with $1 million. So there's a lot of syndications happening right now in Denmark. Also, we know that if we look at our members and we put 10 members up on a row, they'll have hugely different preferences and criteria. So it's actually a nightmare servicing 270 members, because 269 of them are always not happy with the cases we're presenting. All right. So what are they looking for, the business angels? Well, they're looking for the same thing as everybody else in this business, as the VCs. Technology, scalability. Fintech is very popular at the moment. Copenhagen is being established as a fintech center in Northern Europe. ICT, healthcare, industry cases, basic stuff. And also when evaluating the cases, I mean, team is the most important factor. You have to have the growth potential and the good idea. But team is super important, and that is also why we try to get business angels engaged early stage in the team. So instead of negotiating with these young startups for 6, 9, 12 months, get involved, put a little bit of cash on the table, get in the board or advisory board or play a role, help them with the business model and get started. Also, the business angels typically invest early stage. More than almost half of this is pre-seed. So the question I was posed coming here was, are angel investors creating value? I've thought about this long and hard, and the answer is yes. So actually, no, I have a couple of more slides. I've brought some statistics from the European Business Angel Network, the primary organization for business angels, and it just shows a couple of data that we actually last year had 7.3 billion euros invested by angels. That's 40,000 investments, 330,000 business angels, and a lot of BA networks. So I'm just wondering, are they actually putting any cash on the table? And yes, they are actually putting more than twice as much cash on the table as VCs. So I'll be interested, Yrja, to see how you're going to defend yourself with the venture.
It says early stage.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're just taking a little tiny.
We'll see how you'll defend the VCs in a little while. All right. But also, when you invest early stage, it also means that it takes a long time to get out of these companies as well. So in all of the pitch presentations we see on about slide 14, it says we will exit this company in 3 to 5 years. And everybody's nodding and thinking, yeah, it's going to take 7, 8, 9 years, my friend. And that's also why it is really tricky to invest in these companies, because the road to success is just so long. In Denmark, we've had this exit analysis that has been carried out for the past 4 years, and it actually shows that Danish business angels are pretty good, all in all, to exit these cases. When we take all the exits that have been done, you can see the disasters, those are the red ones, and then you can see the positive ones. We remove the outliers, and then at the end you can see that on average the payback is a factor almost 3, which is pretty good even compared to the super skilled VCs. So this is not so bad after all. In Denmark, we've been working very hard on getting data for political reasons, because we have a terrible tax regime. We had a government about 10 years ago that imposed beautiful taxation on Danish startups, which meant that if you invested in a startup which was then successful and was exited, you could have the pleasure of paying 67% tax of this success, which meant, combined with a financial crisis, that the market shut down, as in totally shut down. So fortunately, we had a new government which took this off the table again. We've been doing a lot of analysis since then, and the conclusion is, all in all, that we have 4,000 business angels in Denmark, and the companies they're involved with generate 100,000 jobs. So, and these are 99% validated data. When we finally got them after 6 years of hard work, we were very proud, and that's why I put this bottle of champagne on the article before I posted it on Facebook and LinkedIn. All right, for the last 2 minutes, I have a couple of personal experiences and investments of my own. Let's start in the world of logistics and transportation. This is the way it looks quite often when truck drivers, they load their trucks. You have these pallets, and it can be difficult to stack the goods solidly. So in comes this architect, the young fellow on top of it, and he has invented a pallet stacker. Looks super simple, is super simple, but solidly patented. And we then introduced him to this business angel. It's the guy sitting below, having a good time there. And they began building this company. And now the trucks look, they're beautifully packed, like you can see over there. And the warehouse is now totally organized, and that means that transportation costs are going down. So it took a couple of years to get to this point where they actually said, now this product is bulletproof. They then made a deal with Norway's largest food distributor called ASKO, asked them to test it on one of their routes, and after another year of intense testing, we got this video quote from their distribution director, who says, we have reduced the number of trucks by 20% on this route. So that's a lot of diesel, a lot of manpower, a lot of CO2, and he ends up saying, that's quite significant. And only in a country where the streets are flooded with oil and milk and honey and cash, you would say that's significant. I think it's a revolution, and the actual number is actually even higher. So that's a company that I'm very proud of to be an investor in. Another company, just to keep my portfolio streamlined, is a microphone for musicians. It's a proven world-class technology which helps violinists and people playing the sax and the cello and other instruments to perform perfectly on stage. For the first time, the sound technicians can turn up the violin to its absolute max which means that these artists can, for the first time ever, actually hear what they're playing on stage instead of just being blown away by all the electrical instruments. We have this quote 1 month ago from Davide Rossi, who's the guy behind Coldplay's string music, and he is now saying that this is pretty good. So I have war stories for another 2 hours, but I'll finish up here, and we'll see how the venture capital guys will defend themselves. All right, thank you.